In each episode, we'll try to answer 7 common kid questions in 7 minutes. We'll tackle the common and uncommon questions kids often ask. No question is too weird. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can say hello if you want.
Hi, hello.
Thank you for joining us on our first episode of 7 questions in 7 minutes. I'm Christopher, and in today's episode, I'm joined by my co-host and son, Nathaniel. Nathaniel, are you excited to record today's episode?
Yes!
What do you think of the name 7 Questions in 7 Minutes?
It's fine.
Okay.
Pretty good. Fine.
You're not in love with it. We can do better?
I would like 7 and 7 better.
7 and 7? Shorten it. I like that. Okay, we might have to do that.
Okay.
All right, should we start with the questions?
Let me think about it. Are there any other stuff?
No, I think we should
Okay, just start with the questions.
All right. Which animal has the longest teeth? Do you have a guess?
An elephant.
Ooh, that was a really good guess. This was a tricky one to answer. I was surprised to find different books had different answers. But after a bunch of searching, I think I have the answer. It's elephants. Elephants have 2 incisors that we more commonly call tusks. On average, an African elephant tusk is 6 feet long. 1/3 of the tusk is actually hidden from view, embedded deep in the elephant's head. So when we're looking at an elephant, we're only seeing 2/3 of the actual tusk. Elephant tusks never stop growing, and the longest one on record is 11 feet 5 inches. Elephants use their tusks for many different things, mainly as weapons against potential predators like the tiger or in battle against other elephants, but they are also used to aid foraging, digging, stripping bark, and moving things out of the way. A close runner-up is the narwhal. One of its teeth can grow more than 10 feet long. A narwhal uses its long tooth to impress other narwhals or battle rivals. Was that a pretty good answer?
Yes.
All right. Question number 2. How is chocolate made? Do you have, well, you seem like you have an answer. Okay, tell me.
First you get a cocoa bean, and then you just leave it, and then you crack it. No, then you cook it, then you crack it open, then you make chocolate.
I mean, that was a pretty good summary.
And it changes the taste from tart to a bit tart. Take chocolate.
Okay, well, let me take a stab at answering the question. We couldn't have chocolate without cocoa beans. Cocoa beans grow inside cocoa tree pods and taste bitter. So to make chocolate, we first have to harvest or pick the cocoa beans, then let them ferment for a few days. While they are fermenting, yeast on the pods grow and start changing the flavor. Next, the beans are roasted, which is another step in changing the flavor they have. After roasting, the bean shells are cracked and we keep the inside part, called nibs. The nibs are ground up into a paste. By pressing down really hard on the paste, we can separate it into powder and a buttery substance called cocoa butter. Then, depending on how we want the chocolate to taste, we take the powder and cocoa butter, add some other ingredients, usually sugar and milk powder, mix it all together, and that's how we make chocolate. What do you think? Pretty cool?
Yes, and did you know cocoa beans are actually seeds? Cocoa seeds?
I actually did not know that until I started researching that, but you're right. Cocoa beans are actually a seed. Should we move on to question number 3?
Let me think about it. Yeah.
Question number 3. Why do elephants have big ears? Nathaniel, why do you think elephants have big ears?
To make themselves cool.
Oh, you're right.
And to make themselves bigger to scuff predators and to hear loud stuff and quiet stuff like predators.
Well, elephants actually use their big ears to help keep them cool. Warm blood flows through the tiny blood vessels in the ear, then heat escapes through the skin into the outside air. Elephants can also use their big ears to make themselves look bigger than they are. When they feel threatened, they might spread them out wide to help scare off other animals or elephants. Those large ears can also help them hear things from far away. On average, an elephant can hear another elephant's call from 2.5 miles away. That's pretty far. How far do you think you can hear?
Probably 2 or 1 mile away.
I actually don't know how far humans can hear.
Yeah, that's what I'm just guessing.
That's gonna be a great question for maybe a future episode. Sound good?
Yes.
We'll put it on the list. How do caterpillars become butterflies? This one was pretty interesting to research. The quick version is that one day the caterpillar stops eating, hangs upside down from a twig or leaf, and spins itself a silky cocoon or molts into a shiny chrysalis. The chrysalis or cocoon will be its home while it undergoes the next step. Within its protective house, the caterpillar transforms its body and eventually emerges as a butterfly or moth. But what exactly is happening inside its protective house? What's happening inside its house?
It's melting itself. And it then somehow transforms into a butterfly. But first, the butterfly can't fly right away.
That's right. At first, when they first emerge, they can't fly right away. So, inside the caterpillar releases enzymes that start to digest its body and make a liquid. Within the liquid, certain cells survive. These cells use the protein-rich liquid all around them to fuel the next stage, where wings, legs, and all the other parts of a butterfly are made. And once its new body is ready, it breaks free. So I didn't actually know that within the cocoon, a caterpillar actually melts itself into a liquid with only a few cells still alive. That was pretty fascinating and interesting to me. What did you think?
Pretty deadly.
Pretty deadly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would melt themselves? A human can't do that.
On to the next question. Which animal can see the farthest?
Birds of prey.
On
Or
land,
cheetahs.
On land, during the day, birds of prey are great at seeing far away. Being able to see far distances help them with hunting small animals on the ground. Eagles can see about 8 times as far as humans can, allowing them to spot and focus on a rabbit up to 2 miles away. This question was a bit tricky because are we talking about animals on land or in the water? Is it dark or light? Different animals can see better in dark situations, and an eagle's incredible eyesight wouldn't help underwater. What do you think, Nathaniel? Did I do a good job answering that question?
Yes.
Awesome. Question number 6. Do some animals really make their tails drop off if they think they're being attacked?
Yes. Lizards sometimes do that. First, something could drop their tail, or they just let their tail go, and it wriggles for a while, so they sink the lizards on there because they would be alive. But the lizard's actually running without a tail away, and it regrows. And some lizards only have a limit of tails that they can grow after they lose them.
That was a pretty great summary.
So,
Yes, some lizards have special fracture points and can make their tail drop off if they are in danger. After the tail drops off, it wiggles around for a few seconds, up to half an hour. By wiggling, the tail distracts a predator and gives the lizard time to escape. For lizards that can grow another tail, most of them have a limit to how many new tails they can grow before they lose the ability to drop them during an attack. It takes a lot of energy and time to regrow a tail, so it's not something lizards want to do too often. The last question number 7. This was actually the question you asked me the other day that made me think we should maybe make a podcast. What was the first video game? Do you remember?
Tennis for 2.
Bingo. When you first asked me this question, the earliest game I could think of was Pong, which was basically 2 sticks bouncing a ball back and forth. which is pretty close to what turned out to be the earliest game. The first video game was created in October 1958 by a scientist named Higginbotham, and it was a lot like Pong. It was a very simple tennis game called Tennis for Two. Players could turn a knob to adjust the angle of the ball and push a button to hit the ball towards the other player. Players played on a 5-inch screen, which is about as big as a smartphone. The display only showed two lines, one representing the ground and one representing the net. The ball was just a dot that bounced back and forth. Players also had to keep score for themselves. That's it. Thank you for joining us on our first episode. Hopefully you learned something new and had some fun. Have a question you want us to answer? Send us your question and we might answer it in an upcoming episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Oh, and I'm leaving this chair.